on us, and like we're not able to get past it, you know? Like, imagine if I had spent the whole last year not only just creating art, but sharing it as well, you know, just sharing my journey. I think I would be in a different place now. And I feel that my fear of being seen is most definitely holding me back. And I definitely need to get over that. I feel, I don't know, like, I feel like it's just like the human experience, really, when it comes down to it. It's just a human experience. We're all gonna have moments where we're unsure and like change is like inevitable, but for some reason, it gives us this anxiety, you know? So how does your fear manifest, you know, like in your art? For me, I think I'm super precious about my creative process, and I'm always thinking that I'm being watched, even though like I'm not sharing it with anyone. Like, I'm always creating for this invisible person that's like watching, and it's like, just be present and just like let it flow. Like, don't worry about who's watching, don't worry about who is going to say something, you know. It's not really your job to think about that. And it's not going to do you any good, like thinking about how you can make that, like, there's like, for me, I feel it's just all this thinking about how you can control how you will be received, pretty much. I feel like it's got a lot to do with control about that. And it's impossible to control how you'll be received, honestly. And even if you don't put out any work and you just live your life and just go through the motions, you will still be perceived by whoever is encountering you, and like whoever your path crosses, you know. There's no way to avoid being perceived. So and like receiving like a negative like being perceived in a negative way, it's like you can do your best, but like if you just don't vibe with somebody, like, or you're not resonating with someone, it's just, that's just it. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. And I think coming to terms with that and realizing that like you're gonna be able to find your people, it's just they can't find you if you don't put yourself out there. So that's pretty much the vibe. Like, I feel it really does impact, like being afraid to put yourself out there, it really hinders the creativity and authenticity of like your art, because you're like, I feel like you could feel that energy when someone's like afraid to like really put themselves out there. It's just giving like a woe is me, like my art's not good enough, I'm not good enough, like, when you most definitely are, you know. And if you believe that you are worthy of sharing, then people will be worthy of what, like they'll feel like you're being worthy of being consumed, like your content will be worthy of being consumed. So I feel like that's a big thing for me. Like, I've always felt like, oh my goodness, like who am I, like no one cares like what I have to say, like, and maybe that stems from you know, things that may have happened in my past or whatever, just like certain patterns of behavior that like formed me to think like, okay, yeah, it's best, like my life is easier if I just don't have much to say, which is, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad now that I think about it, but you know, I'm learning to change, and I think being open to change and being open to trying things that make you uncomfortable are really amazing things to do in regards to this, and like exposing yourself to the thing that you have anxiety like from, like giving yourself little doses of exposure to that really does make a difference. Like, it makes it an amazing difference. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there and sharing your truth, you know. But it's really an issue for your growth as an artist if you don't share, because how will you get feedback? You know, feedback is normal. It doesn't have to, you don't always have to just put something out and it be well received and that's that. And how would you end up growing, you know? So I have to really give that some thought and can make sure that I like put myself out there, you know? Like, I hope I'm making sense here, because it's just one of those things, like you think about it too much and you won't do it. Like, it's been over a month since I last uploaded, and I have so much footage. Even from before this, I've had so much footage, and I haven't posted any of it. I haven't really like looked at it and like sat down with it and like, okay, let's go. Like, the only time where I've posted and followed through with what I've created is when I do these sit down videos. As you can see, over the span of the past 2 years, the videos that I put out are videos where I sit down and I just talk, and I edit it, but not really. and I put it out, and I go crazy at first. I'm sad and like anxious about it, but once it's out there, oh wow, like there's like this sense of relief that comes over me, you know? And I think just repeating that cycle of just doing it and just following through will help me in the future to really just become more consistent with it. So that's kind of where I'm at, as far as like overcoming the fear, you know? And just to go over one thing before I continue on and finish up, it could be really detrimental if we allow the anxiety to control us. Like for me, I've just spent a good portion of a decade running away from this dream that I have of being on YouTube and sharing my testimony with the world and just sharing my journey. And like, I don't know, I have goals of where I want to go and who I want to be when I grow up and everything. And I've had those dreams since I created the channel. And it's just really sad. I feel like I've disappointed myself by not following through and by not showing up. And I really want that to change. And I'm trying my best to make the steps towards changing that. And I think it doesn't even have to be about trying. Like, I was talking with my boyfriend and he was just like, you gotta just stop saying you're gonna try. Like, just get up and do the thing, you know? Go through the motions if you have to. Make a plan and just follow it. Even if it like is painful, just do it. And that's really all it is. Like, trying is just not it. You just have to get up and go and do it. Just take action. Because if not, then it's really going to be a really serious situation where you're looking back and you're wishing you would and what if, and it's just like, that's even worse. I would say that's 100 times worse than actually facing the anxiety, facing the fear. Regret is so much worse, in my opinion. But there are some things that we can do, you know, of course, like I said, taking practical steps towards overcoming the fear of being seen. One of the main things I would say is embracing being vulnerable. It's okay. We all have emotions. They are a normal part of being a human and being a part of this experience as humans on this earth. There's nothing that could, it's not like an unusual experience, you know. We all have that thing that brings us this feeling of anxiety and fear. It's different for everyone, you know. And I think it would be really good to just not focus on like where you are going, like know where you're going, of course, have direction, of course, but be present in that, you know, in the steps that it takes to get to that destination. Because really, in the grand scheme of things, what you're doing on the day-to-day is really all that matters. Like, in the long run, all those things that you're doing on the daily are what get you there. So why worry about how it's going to look once you're like, just do it. Every day, get up and take actions towards that one thing and fall in love with that. Be excited about that. It's a lifestyle. So, you know, I think I want to give myself a challenge of just like this, just sitting down. I have this idea. I want to say something. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say that thing and I'm going to post it. And next time something like that happens, I feel inspired. I sit down and I do the thing. And where that leads me, I'll be grateful. It can only lead me to a great place, you know? So another thing I would say is to surround yourself with a supportive community, whatever that may look like for you. For me, I have a great community that supports my creative process, and I've had to seek that out because that has not always been the case. I think certain goals you may have, and maybe you feel anxiety because, you know, maybe your community doesn't see what you're doing as impactful or like it would really be a good use of your time. So then you don't do the thing, even though that's all you can think about. But you don't do the thing because your community is not as excited about it as you might be, or they just don't share that interest. So, you know, you can get bogged down because of that. But there are communities that you can be a part of that will support your goals and efforts and be there for you to pick you up if you are feeling down and re-inspire you. So I would definitely try to find out who those people are and how you can spend time with them and, you know, nurture each other and grow, because that's really what it comes down to. Because sometimes it's just like, as strong as you are, if your surroundings are constantly kicking you down and putting you down, it's going to be really hard to get back up and say, okay, you know what? No, I am going to do this thing. It's hard to find that willpower when you don't have an environment that is supportive, you know, just like anything, you know, a plant is not going to be able to survive in an environment that is not conducive to its growth. And it might try its hardest, but it's not going to look its best. It's not going to glow unless it's getting that proper portion of water and sunlight that it needs, that is engraved in its DNA. So the same goes for us. If we're not in that place where we can really grow and thrive, it's going to be a very, very ugly scene, really. You know, you need water, but you're drinking soda every day. You know, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. We need to move, but we're sitting down all day long, and you know, it's just not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen for us. We want to have a productive day, but we're staying up all night and, you know, drowning our sorrows in whatever our vice is. And it's just, you know, but yeah, I would just say, put yourself out there, you know, little by little, expose yourself to this. Like for me, I spent the last year going live on Tumblr. I don't know if you guys are ever aware. It's almost now a fairy tale or folk tale or whatever, that Tumblr had a live. But yeah, Tumblr had a live feature, and over the last year, I was able to cultivate a most encouraging community, and the support is astounding. The individuals I've met, super amazing, supportive individuals that I hope to cherish for the rest of my life, because it's been incredible. The positivity, the understanding, the emotional stability that is there is just incredible. And I'm so grateful to have come across these individuals. And, you know, shout out Coast, shout out Aqua, shout out Eartha, Jasmine. You know, if you know, you know who you are, and you know that you have been an incredible influence in my life. If I haven't told you so far, well, this is it. But yeah, I try to let you guys know how much I appreciate you. So shout out to you guys. But yeah, I think this might be all I have to say, really. I really encourage, you know, I really encourage you all to share your art despite the fear. Like, put yourself out there. It is going to be okay. You know, right now, I'm starting to share a little bit more about my art process on TikTok. So if you're interested in following that, I'll probably leave a link below so you can check that out. I'm working on my website and trying to expand my Etsy shop into that realm. So, you know, there's lots of big things coming around the corner here, and there's just a lot to be excited about, and there's no reason to fear. There is no reason at all to fear. And, you know, even if it does come up, I'm feeling a little bit better each day about attacking that and like moving past it and being great. It's really incredible. You know, it really is. I think there have been so many people who have found a way to overcome this, and they have been extremely, just incredibly successful because they were able to make it through this. So it's definitely possible. We could do it. We can all do this. And I don't think we should worry about the inevitable criticism that may occur from putting yourself out there. I think it's only normal. Even if you don't put yourself out there and you come across someone, they will criticize you, and that's okay, because criticism could also be constructive, and it can also help you to grow and develop into new realms that you never would have even imagined for yourself, because you just never really thought to take your art in that direction. So I don't think you have to be afraid of sharing. You know, like some people that I can mention, like as I was doing my research, who have done incredible things, is like Robert Pattinson, for example. He has a severe anxiety problem, but he was able to overcome it, and look at who he is now. You know, he was able to channel that energy of anxiety into an incredible movie franchise that he was the star of, almost. Like, it's just incredible. Who would have even thought that he, of all people, would be filled with anxiety and fear of showing up and showing face? Like, he is absolutely gorgeous. Like, why is he, you know, like, but it's hard to see those things. It's hard to see that you will be well received sometimes, especially if you've been conditioned to not want to show yourself and not be seen. So I don't know. And he said, you build everything from anxiety and fear, and he's not wrong. Like the first day of school, the anxiety you feel on the first day of school is crazy. But as soon as you're there and you're in the whole thing, it's like, it's no big deal. You know how it is. Like, no big deal. Another person is Joanna Gaines, star of Fixer Upper, you know, the show on I forget the show network, but they basically, her and her husband Chip, they have like a whole empire now where they sell like home goods and all these things, but they started out just flipping houses. And she confesses, Joanna, that she really had a hard time going through the first house that she ever flipped with her husband. And, you know, it's okay. it's okay. Like, feeling fear because you think you may fail is only natural, and it only pushes you to actually follow through and prove yourself wrong, you know? Because then you feel much better after that. You feel like you can do anything, honestly, once you overcome that and prove yourself wrong. Like, oh wow, like I can do anything. I thought I was gonna fail miserably, and now I'm like extremely successful. So I don't know, there's definitely a power in sharing your art because, like, so many people have done, they put themselves out there and their art inspires someone else to do something incredible. Like, just this past year, in my whole process of creating, there's this one YouTuber that I watch, Kayla. She does spiritual or intuitive therapy, and she shared her artwork, and it inspired me to create something that was like in tribute to her artwork. And I ended up entering an art contest with the pieces that I created, and I was able to get second place for the pieces that I submitted. So if she had never put herself out there and shared her art, who knows if I would have ever been able to create the pieces that I did. So it's really a collaborative effort as far as sharing yourself and your creations with the world, because you were not given that inspiration for no reason, you know? It wasn't meant to be created and put in a closet. It was meant to be created and shared to uplift someone else and to contribute to the whole collective of humans. So I should probably wrap this up. It's been a minute now. It's been 25 minutes now. And I think I've said all that I can, you know. I really think that it's important to overcome the fear that may come up, understand how it manifests in your art and how that looks when you are in the creative process itself, and try to think about people who have overcome this fear, you know. And when you're in that moment, try to think about just embracing the change, focusing on the process and surrounding yourself with supportive people. And, you know, eventually with gradual exposure and everything, you'll be desensitized to the actual thing that you've been having anxiety over and fearing of doing. I think it's really important too to like share your experiences and try to connect with others who have been going through something or who have already gone through it and are able to help you and give you pointers on how to get through that. So I think it's really good to find that community, encourage each other to be showing up regardless of how they may be received. I think it's really important. So, you know, as far as your criticism as well, you know, just take that as it comes. If you feel it is something that you could apply, and then apply it. But if it's something that you feel is unwarranted or inappropriate, you know, you don't have to subscribe to those criticisms. That's part of the whole thing. You know, we're not always going to be vibing with everyone. There's a reason why we're all different, and we could find our communities and our niches and everything, because that's just a part of life, really. So having a fear of that is only going to be to your detriment, really, in the long run. And just remember that if you don't share your art, you may be holding someone else back as well from creating the art that they were meant to create after seeing yours. So, you know, pay it forward, really, because you're probably creating because you were inspired by someone who were brave enough to share their work. So it only makes sense for you to be brave enough to share your work. And, you know, I really would love to talk more in the comments about this. If you guys have stories that you want to share, if you're dealing with this struggle, because I'm in the thick of it. I'm making this video and I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to anyone else who is in this predicament with me at this moment, because I know that I'm not alone. I know there are other people out there, and I just want us all to come together and show up and kick that fear and anxiety to the curb. We are done. We're breaking up with fear and anxiety. So, you know, it's not easy, but it's not what I need in my life, and I don't think any of us need fear or anxiety in our life. So let's come together, let's talk about it. I encourage you guys to take small steps. You know, I'm taking small steps, and this is one of them, recording this and sharing with you all. So I really just want to take a moment and thank you all for staying. If you're still here, I think I mentioned something in my last video, but I don't remember. I think it was a ladybug. If you were still here, drop a sunflower, because sunflowers are strong and mighty flowers, and they are not afraid of being seen. They grow tall and unafraid and unapologetic. So with that, I thank you and I bid you adieu. I hope that you guys continue the conversation with me in the comments. I would love to know more about the projects and things you've been working on, and hopefully I'm able to encourage you all to share with the world. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Thank you. Bye.